Hi, everyone. This is a quick update about a new federal law that affects how overtime is taxed and how overtime is calculated. On July 4th, 2025, a new law was passed that gives some employees a tax break on part of their overtime pay. This mostly matters if you regularly work overtime. Here's the simple version. From 2025 through 2028, the extra half part of overtime, what you earn above your regular hourly rate, may be tax deductible when you file your taxes. This only applies to overtime that's required by federal labor law. There's a cap on how much you can deduct each year, and the benefit phases out for very high earners. But most city employees who work overtime may qualify for at least part of this deduction. Now let's talk about how overtime is calculated, because this is where some changes are happening, and those changes depend on your department. For most city employees, starting January 1st, 2026, regular overtime will be based only on actual hours worked over 40 hours in a work week, as required by federal labor law. Paid benefit hours do not count toward the 40-hour overtime threshold. This includes things like sick leave, vacation, holiday pay, and compensatory time. For fire department employees, starting January 1st, 2026, regular overtime will be based only on actual hours worked over 212 hours in a 28-day work period, as required by federal labor law. For police department employees, starting January 1st, 2026, regular overtime will be based only on actual hours worked over 171 hours in a 28-day work period, as required by federal labor law. Paid benefit hours do not count toward that total. Emergency overtime is not changing. It's also important to know this. Nothing is changing about how the city withholds taxes from your paycheck. The tax benefit happens when you file your taxes, not in your weekly paycheck. If you worked overtime in 2025, you should save your final payroll check for that year and share it with your tax professional when you file your 2025 taxes in 2026. Starting with the 2026 tax year, you will receive documentation, likely on your W-2, showing the total amount of overtime earned for the year. Because everyone's situation is different, the city cannot provide tax or financial advice. If you have questions about how this law applies to you personally, a tax professional can help. If you have questions about overtime calculations or payroll practices, please contact the payroll division. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the work you do every day.